what's up? So I was talking to my man Andrew yesterday.
Do I need this? I don't need this.
No, you don't.
I don't need this.
Oh, you need me to say that on camera? So you wanted me to say that on camera in case anything.
Look, man, I'm trying to be.
We are in Creme Podcast Productions. We're in a friendly zone here.
Trying to make sure, man. I don't want to pass any of the Rona around.
All right. Listen, man. So, man, I was talking to you yesterday. You know, we were doing a little walk around. That sounds. It's nighttime. We did a walk around the lake. No, but we're walking around the lake. We're talking, and you're telling me, man, you're on calls with Hong Kong. You're on calls doing all these amazing places.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring you on here.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you having me here, man. This is a awesome opportunity, man. I mean, your reputation speaks for itself, so that's why I hit you up to go for that late night walk.
Yeah.
We're having a lot of fun right now.
Right.
We're doing a lot of things that when you're younger you think of, you dream of, and we are, and you're like, man, that's big. That's big time.
It's big time. You know, it's funny. Like when we're in the day to day, like we're going through things. Like, I was on a call with Hong Kong. I'm like, hold the phone right now. Like, hold up. You're just like we're saying these things because we're in it every single day, but you're on the phone with Hong Kong talking about business deals, talking about things that are going on, with other countries, other things going on. These are not things that people do every single day.
No.
Right. And you're out here doing it. So I want to start back. Let's dial it back a little bit. Because
how much time does everybody have?
No, man, we're just gonna have some fun with it. Like we got the time, all the time in the world. So dialing it back a bit, starting with those Chick-Fil-A humble beginnings.
Chick-Fil-A, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the day I turned 14, I had a job lined up, and I started working for them, and that's, it's a base for the foundation for everything that's going to come to be, and that's what was so important.
Right.
Prior to that, I was a student ambassador, so I traveled. I went to Italy, I went to Europe, I went to Australia, and I went to Australia in 7th grade.
Yeah.
And a lot of those.
So you were in this, like, okay, I'm not saying into school, but like you were into the after school, like you're into the programs. Like,
that was that was up to about 7th grade.
Yeah.
Something happened in 7th grade, and the after school activities started to escape me. But I was recommended. I was approached and offered to join this group called People Student Ambassador Organization. Right. And through that organization, we pick up sponsors, we get to travel, and it taught me a lot about leadership, taught me a lot about organization and team building. And then once you get to Chick-fil-A, so my days at Chick-fil-A were right out the gate. I was reading books back in 2000. Which, that might not be old to a lot of people.
You're reading books.
But back in 2000, so I remember Truett Cathy, one of the family members of the Chick-fil-A family, wrote a book called, it was about good guys coming last and win, but it was about servant leadership. Yeah. So in 2001, at 14 years old, I was reading about servant leadership, and it's so funny because it comes up so often nowadays. And the power that it can bring with it. Yeah. And, I was 14, then 15, and then 16, and I got promoted to team lead, and I was ordering supplies. I was 16 years old. I was at college parties getting wrecked, or not college, sorry, high school parties getting wrecked. And I'm like, oh man, I didn't order enough waffle fries. Right. I was like, well, we gotta go pick up the waffle fries from another store, drive them to my store. Right. So at a young age though, it was all about, whatever's going on, you gotta get the job done. Like you might be out doing whatever it was I was doing, but
you gotta get it done.
You gotta get it done. Yeah. So through servant leadership at Chick-fil-A, through like I said, that book, Nice Guys Finish Last and Win. And I'll never forget. When I got that book, it was because Truett Cathy showed up to an event, and at that time, Chick-fil-A's expansion was Maryland. That's as far north as they've been. Yeah. No, and so they were there a lot, and so he came out. I remember he came to the event, so I met him 2 or 3 times, and by the 3rd time, without he always had somebody following him, and I think was feeding the names into him, but he did. He remembered me by that 2nd or 3rd time. Yeah. And I'll never forget that quality of a leader that really stood out to me. But the servant leadership, the just serving people and being there for others really started to take then. Right. And that was that was my high school days.
Man, if I was reading those books in my high school days, it's funny because I was not on that level in high school, right? Talking about servant leadership, being a team lead. And I think what you just said, I see it happen in the real estate industry a lot, right? Mm. We like to have fun as real estate agents, right? Real estate agents like to have a good time. We like to go out. We like to party, go to big events, go to big masterminds. But who is waking up the next day and actually getting their shit done, right? I think that's it's a quality that gets instilled at a young age, that gets instilled where, yes, we like to have fun, but you also have to be able to get the work done and be able to follow up with it.
Yeah.
So going from Chick-fil-A, all right.
Oh, Chick-fil-A. I was going to go in the military. I wanted to be a Marine, and my mom asked me. She's like, just do me a favor, go live on your own for a year and see what it's like with nobody telling you what to do.
Right.
And I thought, why not? You got me this far. I'll at least give that to you.
Got me this far. Yeah.
Growing up, I was a hockey player, so I played hockey and a lot of early mornings, and Mom was there for a lot of it. So I gave her that that wish that I would move down and stay with my brother. So 2 days after I turned 18, I moved down to Orlando. So I come from Washington D.C. I moved down to Orlando.
You moved to a whole new city. Like who'd you know down here?
Just my brother.
Yeah,
my brother. I came down. I was supposed to come down for 2 weeks, check it out, and then go back and
never went back.
No, I never went back.
Never went back.
15 years later, I'm still here. So Mom and Dad are still waiting for me to come home. Sorry,
right.
No, they've actually retired. They've moved down here.
Nice.
Usual story.
Oh, so now they moved down here too.
Yeah, they're on the coast, out in Cocoa.
Right.
But so I moved down here and didn't know what to do. Ended up finding my way to Universal.
Yeah.
Orlando through and through. And I was like, well, let me get the theme park experience under my belt. But I got into security at Universal, and the things that you learn doing.
Talk to me about security, man. Security at Universal. That just sounds
everybody's
like
like,
a shit
so
show
like,
waiting to happen.
they're like, what's your,
what are you doing?
What's the story?
Like initially, I'm thinking, all right, so security at Universal, like, are you holding 5-year-olds back from getting on rides? Like, what are you actually doing?
Dude, I was like, I'm gonna have some keys. I'll find some missing kids. I'll open a few doors. I mean, I tell you, like I said, people always wonder, oh, it's the craziest thing. I'm like, you really? I mean, I've seen people die. I've seen I've seen a couple people die. I mean, fights, sexual battery, drugs, guns
at Universal.
And I think I'm far enough removed that I don't think I can be brought back on any type of non-disclosures or anything like that. But I'm telling you, I mean, Mardi Gras, Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh my
the worst was we had Grad Bash. It was the 18-year-olds to come out, and it was their celebration for graduating high school. They were the worst. And
because they got no sense of like what life really is.
It's separate occasion. Well, half the time I was looking at these guys, I was like, "This isn't high school. Like, stop it! Like, stop it!" It was, I mean, big old boys, and I'll never forget. I mean, one of my first real experiences there, we actually, they almost shut the park down because they had lost so much control, and we actually had at one point we had a gang from Jacksonville and a gang from Tampa that were combating each other. And I'm walking through the park. I get up to the front of
I just came here to swing some keys and
I come walking up to the front of Islands of Adventure, and there's all out brawl. And I'm just like, so I called in, and they had told us that like the week prior at Wet and Wild, which is no longer there, at Wet and Wild, they had a shooting. And so some of the same schools were coming. And so we were on high alert, and we, all that stuff. And that stuff is real. I mean, the police agencies do have, there are communications going through all the agencies that you guys don't know about legitimately. Not even just the grad bash, but like we would have legit
graduation
bash.
Okay, yeah.
We would have legitimate gypsies from foreign countries come over, and Orange County Police Department would notify the security department to let us know. And they would come and they would take anything they could.
Yeah.
Literally they
take my plant.
See you guys.
I'm so proud of my plant too. Hey guys, by the way, I actually went to IKEA
around
a podcast plant.
Like, around one fern.
I'm getting domesticated here. I got a fern. Come on.
They would go back to the hotel, and they'd all brag about how much they all got. And we would know that we would legitimately know that this is going on.
Yeah.
We'd go to guest services. They would, we had this experience. We want this day free. We want that day. So anyways, long story short, on the, so gypsies, these gangs, stuff like that, we would have intelligence come into us about the stuff going on. So we had two gangs fighting, one from Tampa, one from Jacksonville.
Yeah. We're
inside the park at one point, and I could walk up on it. I see it. I called in, and it was almost like they knew I called in that they were fighting.
Yeah.
And everybody takes off running, and I'm like, well, I can't call in. I called in the special code.
Right.
Everybody get here now. It was like a 50-person melee.
Wow.
So they start running. I'm chasing. So I start running after them, and we get up into Marble. If anybody knows Universal Studios, we're in Marble, and we're going towards Toon. So Toon Lagoon. And I'll never forget. We come around the corner right past Spider-Man. And there's a group.
So hold on. So we're talking about
we're Toon Lagoon.
So man, there's this huge brawl. I'm coming around Toon Lagoon. You pass Spider-Man. Like, I can't make this shit up.
I promise I was doing security.
Right.
This wasn't a college party. This is legit. This is what we're experiencing.
You're around the corner on Toon Lagoon.
I see Spider-Man just webbing everybody. No,
we were sober for this, guys. Yeah.
So I come around the corner and there's just these group. It's like 20 or 40 on 40, just like pulsating towards each other, like. And there's three of the four responding units that got in the middle of it, and we're trying to break it up. And we're calling everything over, and an all out melee broke out. Just absolute. I seen 18-year-olds throw a cop against a wall and just working them, and I was like, I'd never seen anything like it in my life.
What do you do?
Swung it and hope I hit something. Right. No, but I remember calling it in, and so anybody that knows this area, the Orlando area, one of the things that so we had Orange County police there, and no disrespect to them, but Orlando police, it's like if you ever seen the movie Elf when they talk about the park rangers rolling in or what. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's like when Orlando police show up.
Yeah,
and I'll never forget that scene. Them coming around the corner, whipping out the nightsticks, and it was. Because they are used to downtown Orlando. Anybody that knows the downtown Orlando night scene or understands or seeing like how you can get out there,
like downtown areas,
they'll let you. Yeah, they'll let you do what you do. But when
those nightsticks come out,
if you've messed up,
right,
you better just it's y'all win. But so they showed up and they just started clearing the house, man. Yeah. But I'll never forget. And as we're clearing that scene, though, it continued. Yeah. It kept happening. And I never once heard my assistant. We'd hear the director on the radio every once in a while because he had to demonstrate that he was the director. But our assistant director, I've never heard him on the radio. And he's like, "Control, we need a line of security and police at this location, a line of security at this location." Yeah. And we pushed them all out. And that was just one of them. The amount of stories and like I said, from drugs. We went to a health call. Somebody was seizuring. Sure enough, we find like an ounce of drugs on them. I'm like, why would you come to the park with that much? Like, what were you? Right. So I guess I say all that part of the story. Just the amount of stuff that I learned legal wise and like legality, understanding your rights, understanding what can happen, understanding. I guess to go towards the story though was like, but to see this stuff, I was 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah, seeing all this,
doing some of the same, I would clock out and then go to the University of Central Florida, and hit some of the same parties and be about it. But then to see it from this angle and to some of them, like I said, one of the strangest calls I ever had. I'm not going to go into that story, but one of the strangest though is, I'm 20 years old. I'm watching this family go through a major family life crisis. At 20 years old, and I'm just like, well, I clock out.
Right.
And it was a wild one. It was a wild one for sure. But yeah, my days at Universal, the legality of stuff, how things work in that sense.
Right.
I saw somebody. I thought I was going to see somebody get unarrested. I saw the bad side of, unfortunately, of some police transactions.
Yeah.
They found someone to arrest him for. He didn't get unarrested.
Right.
But the time at Universal, that was almost about 5 years, 18 to 22 years old.
Man.
But to be security at a theme park, I could drive a van, a golf cart. I was on the bike.
I'm thinking like Paul Blart, right?
Dude,
I'm thinking Paul Blart around Spider-Man, like seeing all these different things going on, right?
Dude, it was. And the character, we would.
Oh, that came out while you were working there.
Oh yeah, we all went to the movie theater together, and each one of us, that's da da da. Oh, that's blah blah blah.
Right.
Man, we had a blast. We had a blast watching that. But yeah, Paul Blart. It's a good representation, but Paul Blart is a mall cop, and we were theme park.
Right.
When the park would shut down, we would ride out, and we would we'd go out into the park, and we'd go to Jurassic Park World and run around the playground and stuff like that. It's like we just like hurry up, get to 11 so we can clock out and go over to UCF and party. But, so yeah, those were the college days, I guess, to 22.
Right.
That's what I was working on. So been Chick-Fil-A, went to Universal.
How did you get from there to working in real estate?
How did I get there?
What was that transition from getting from where you're at, breaking up wild, crazy things at Universal Studios, right, and then getting over into real estate? Like, when did that happen?
Yeah, so the opportunity came up to work for the Orlando Police Department, and some of the guys there that I was working with hand in hand, they were like, what are you doing here? Like, get a real job, stuff like that. Not in a bad way, but just like trying to help me out. Like they wanted, obviously the pay structure was a lot better at that. But I told them, I was like, well, there's this opportunity coming up, and for those that may or may not know, there's a company called Wawa.
Yeah,
that's one of your favorites.
I'll say, I had no idea what the hell you were talking about. You're like working at Wawa. I thought you were just like, all right, yeah, whatever, Wawa. So we don't have that up north. Right? We don't have Wawa.
Well, they haven't made it west. They haven't made it west. That's the
they haven't made it west.
It's Philly. Okay. It's a Philly thing.
Okay.
So, so Wawa was coming to town, and I knew them from growing up in DC, and I said, this is going to be a big deal. And I went and applied. I applied for the college graduate.
So what is Wawa? So for the people out there like me who had no idea what a Wawa was, Yeah.
It was a restaurant that sold gas.
Right.
And a lot of people like to call it a gas station. But that's a personal thing for them. Don't ever call it.
Don't call it. If you're in Wawa, do not call it a gas station.
Like, it's like don't call it a comeback. Don't call it a gas station.
Right,
They never pump gas. But they do because it's New Jersey. But so I get the opportunity with Wawa, get in their college graduate program. I started a career there. We built up the market, and that part of it though does have a lot to do with where I'm at now in real estate. The part that had a lot to do with what I'm doing now is they exploded in Central Florida.
Right.
And we went from opening, like 1 to 2 stores a week, and the growth plan and what would have to happen in order for when you have a company that's doing food, so they did food like Subway,
right.
They did coffee like 7-Eleven,
wow,
convenience store like 7-Eleven, coffee like I guess Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts level quality coffee.
Yeah.
And then the gas station aspect. I mean, there was so many. I being Chick-Fil-A in high school, I was like, Chick-Fil-A was successful because it's one thing, chicken.
Right.
And it was simple. And that was in my head at the time. I was like, that's business. You just do something simple and you're the best at it. You just execute.
Yeah.
But Wawa came in and they were doing it. They're executing at a high level.
Yeah.
Employee owned, which is another thing that comes into the story later. It was employee owned, and that was a huge part of the decision to go with them and all that. So I'm in the college graduate program. By the time I'm 25, I become a general manager, have my own store, doing very well. Right. I'm in a relationship where we're happy. She's working on her doctorate, going to be a professor, and it comes up early, like, hey, we're going to have to move. I don't know. Right. It's not very common that you get a job at the same university that you get your doctorate from, and I'm going to have to go wherever the job is. Right. I'm fine. Younger student ambassador, I was like, yo, look for jobs in wherever. Let's have fun with this. If we're going to do it, like, let's do it. Yeah. So I'm going through the years at Wawa, and but an opportunity comes up. Yeah. And back when I was at Universal, I started working with a buddy, and he built acoustic panels. Yeah. So we actually might need to get some for this studio here. To go ahead and outfit it, get some better quality sound.
Look, I just opened the studio up. You're coming in here already trying to make it better.
I'm always looking for the pitch. There's always a sale somewhere.
Right.
No, Grant Cardone, who's got my money.
I'm about to be getting pitched on my own podcast here, guys.
So my buddy started Overtone Acoustics.
Right.
If you're a Marcus Lemonis Prophet fan, you might know us. We were on the show.
Yeah.
And he had approached me and told me he wanted to scale, and he was looking to go ahead and take some of my corporate Wawa background, go ahead and see what we could do as far as scaling the company. Right. Get there, we open up the books. There's no money. And it's like, we can't scale without money.
Right.
That's 101. But we needed to find an investor. So we started writing, hitting up people that we knew locally, stuff like that. Nothing was hitting. So we said, why not? We threw up the prayer, the Hail Mary, and actually the TV show picked us up. So we were on the TV show, The Prophet. And at that point, I thought, all right, well, this is it. I'm 27, 28 now. Yeah. Let's go for it. Let's see what we can find out. Right. Let's see, I know she's working on her doctorate. We're going to have to move wherever. But if I take this opportunity, if I make a bunch of money, then it won't, it'll be running itself, and we really live wherever. Right. So I leave Wawa. I start the opportunity with Overtone Acoustics, and it's a big deal. I mean, I came in at a very young age at Wawa, and was some of the first in Florida, and the opportunity to be senior vice president of whatever thing they created down the road was really real. Her dad was, high up at Wawa. So I had firsthand experience of what could potentially be my future and the realistic money I could achieve there. And I mean, it's hard, man, when you're talking about walking away from something that's like, it's that corporate.
So what did it take for you to walk away from that?
Well, it was the opportunity of wanting something in my, for my name and my family. When I looked at Wawa, it was, so the Woods family owns it, and when you see their kids today, now they started over. Not a lot of people know this. They always like to say we went from making cannonballs to meatballs, and I was like, but they were around back in the Civil War.
Really?
Actually, Abraham Lincoln worked for the Wawa company at one point. He was a dispatch rider. Really? Yeah, so when they would have to send communications, they had dairy farms, and it was an iron foundry, and so they would run iron products to Illinois. Yeah. And at like 14 or something like that, Abraham Lincoln was actually a dispatch rider for him. So it's at the Wawa History Museum. If you ever go to Media, Pennsylvania.
Wawa History Museum, that's on my list. As my tourist destinations, the Wawa History Museum.
It better be. Yeah, you're missing out. You're missing out.
Yeah.
So. The Wawa part of it, and then walking away from it and getting into wanting something that was mine, that family had started over, like I said, over hundreds of years ago. And now to see their kids and to see what the kids had and what could potentially be mine or be my family's 2, 3, 4 generations down the road.
Right.
The fact of the matter was, and knowing the Wawa story, it's important to know somebody's story.
Yeah.
Because
we're bringing you on here today.
to go into the history museum, I was like, man, like they went from being an iron foundry during the Civil War, making cannonballs and making stuff iron related. Then they opened up a storefront because they had dairy cows. So like, well, let's sell them milk. So in the turn of the 1900s, they had to sell the milk, and so they had all that. They had that going on, and it was a readjustment. And then once they had the storefront, one day, one of the fathers was brewing a cup of coffee or brewing a pot of coffee. And so he was like, I'll give you $0.25 for that coffee. Like, okay, that's how they started selling coffee, and then. And it was always evolving and stuff like that. And so I knew, I was like, well, at some point, somebody's going to have to be the one to step out there, and get socked in the face as many times as it takes. But they're going to figure it out. They're going to go ahead. They're going to make different decisions. They're going to readjust the business model, the strategy, and in order to have, for my family to have that 3, 4 generations on the roads, I was going to have to do it.
So what made you choose real estate?
So real estate, we got to the point of the Prophet, the TV show didn't work out.
Yeah.
Part reality show, part 2 friends working together, it didn't happen. And my grandfather had a few rental properties growing up. And Wawa we had, it was employee owned. So I got some stock. I walked away with the stock and I had some money. I was like, well, I want to try this. A buddy of mine wanted to do flips. Yeah. And so I went out to meet him at this potential property, and he had his real estate friend meet us. Right. I met him. And after him and another agent that, and a lot of the agents that know the story, they know who they are, but we actually still run a lot of the same circles. I ended up not joining them. Yeah. But that day meeting them and talking to them, one of them, she used to work for another type of merchandise like Target. Yeah. And just hearing her story, I was like, well, let me give this a shot. So, real estate came about, like I say, it was always in the back of my mind. It was always around. If I was going to give it a shot, now was the time. And I said, if me and my girlfriend at the time, if we're going to move, not everywhere has hospitality. I had Universal, I had Chick-Fil-A, I had Wawa. All these colleges or small towns, maybe they have some bars or some restaurants, but some of the lifers work there, and there's not going to be a ton of money. Yeah. So I said, let me get into real estate in a city I know and love, Orlando. I can learn, so I already know the city. Let me learn the real estate part. Right. Then when I move, I'll just have to learn the city, but I'll know real estate. Another Wawa GM actually was already working for the broker at the time, but one of my mentors and father figures, Gil Ramos, was down here it was an Exit Realty brokerage back then. Right. So he brought me in. I talked to Gil, and that one meeting, just like most people, just something clicked. Right. It seemed right. It seemed like the right place to go. So I went there. What was it about Gil that stood out to you? That because a lot of times too, for me, every time I talk to somebody, especially when I'm doing this Young and Hungry segment, there's always that one individual, that mentor, that person that they look to. That's like, man, I got into it almost because of this person. What was it about Gil specifically when you walked in there? What was it that clicked? Well, for me, it's, I make a lot of decisions based off of gut and intuition, or, just trust. Right. And it just, so walking in, and it could have been, it's the sales side of them. Yeah. I know, and him and I, we banter all the time, and I'm comfortable enough now where, I just straight up, I'll mimic everything he does. And, so we have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with him now. Yeah. But it was demeanor. It was, I would say, so for anybody generally curious, he had a proven, repeatable system. Backed by market research. Typically in most situations, we tell people to get you the best property for the best price, for the best protection. Right. In this scenario, it was, hey, if this is what you want to accomplish, you need to do this, and this. So that was, where I was at in life and what I was trying to accomplish. It seemed like a very easy, duplicatable plan. And that was what I would have to say. It was the proven, repeatable process to duplicate this plan. I've done it here, and I can do it again here with you. Right. So, okay. So at this point, with what you're doing now, it's absolutely amazing. So you're with Gil, right? So you're with Gil in the office. What has made you be there throughout those years, those years in real estate? What keeps you there? What keeps you around those people, that environment? Yeah. The biggest thing that I would, that I tell people, and so, the number one thing was, since is patience. So the patience to show up and keep showing up. Dude, if I made the toughest. Yeah, man. If I made that decision at one point, and I'm real big on that, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a data guy. And not in the sense that I can tell you my numbers or something like that, just in the sense of if I'm going to make a decision, or if I'm digging my heels in, know that I've
you got the research to back it up.
I'm not
going into this.
I will be the first.
If I'm getting an argument with you, I know for a fact that you're going to be like pulling up like, do you see this? Yeah.
And so the biggest thing though, and I go back to my early days was always the community, the teamwork, the partnering, and stuff like that. So what has not even Gil, it's my partners. So now it's Dan and Sean.
So talk to us about Dan. Yeah, how did you? Yeah. So your partners Dan and Sean.
Yeah, Dan I can't stand him.
Right. I mean, none of us do. So.
No, like legit. I came in. He knows the story. But I came in. The problem was when I was on the Profit and I did that business, it was with my friend.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. One, because of the reality show. Two, because those two friends working together, and we didn't want to offend each other. We didn't want to push or pull and create that friction.
Right.
And Dan and I went through boot camp together, and it's something that we do that Gil put on. So another Gil thing that he does. It's a real estate boot camp to get you going. And we went through boot camp together, and this guy was.
Is that an Orlando thing? I swear,
that's a Gil. That's a Gil thing.
That's a Gil thing. That's like, man, I'm around people down there. There's a.
That's 100% a Gil thing. Yeah. I think, but Gil, I've come to find out it's stolen from somewhere. So I'm sure somebody else.
There's no such thing as an original.
Gil has not. And I try to tell other people all the time because I'll do comedy and I'm like, I'll tell Sean, like, dude, all comedy's stolen. It's like Twilight, like most of the stuff stole stuff from Twilight Zone, and then most of like South Park's The Simpsons stole that from whoever stole it from Twilight Zone, and then South Park and Family Guy stole it from The Simpsons. It's usually just like. But
recycled. We like to say it's recycled, not stolen.
Yeah. So I meet Dan in boot camp, and like I said, he's I do this and I do that, but I did like him, man. I knew that every time he spoke, there was, it was the wealth of knowledge, and that's where I lacked. It's not that I lacked in knowledge; it's just I lacked in. I was a gut intuition person, and I just trusted it. But then I just knew when he spoke, he knew what he was talking about as well, and that's like I said. When I do, it's because I know what I'm talking about. I'm digging my heels in this. I know what I'm talking about at this point.
Right.
And so I knew with such confidence that Dan would speak with, and two, but like I said, I felt like we were opposites. I just tried the whole similar, my friend, best friend, hey, let's do this together. It didn't work out, but I always want to do stuff as a team. Always that was a Chick-Fil-A thing. Always as a team.
Right.
Reinforced doing security, we go into those. We're always outnumbered. Every event we went to, we're outnumbered. And I didn't even get to all my worst stories at Universal. But there's only one time I was ever actually in fear of my life.
Really?
And it was a mass mob situation where it wasn't violent. And out of all things, it was Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson was perforing, and we were totally caught off guard.
Yeah,
any other performer, we would have had all of them there.
Kelly Clarkson coming in, y'all.
You'll never. But I was seeing strollers trampled. I was seeing moms actually crying, reaching out to me, and I was just as scared. But teamwork has always been. I'm a hockey player. It's a team. The team. No one person's bigger than the team. I was
always big into team sports. Yeah.
Yeah. So team is always so. So I meet Dan. I knew I wanted somebody to help me out. I knew it was easier to partner up. I didn't want somebody similar to me. I just tried that route. It didn't work.
Yeah.
So I meet Dan, and we start working together just in the sense of, hey, let's challenge each other. Accountability buddies. And, all right, you're doing this, I'm doing that. But it's so funny. Even some of my first deals, him and I started at the same point. But I was like, man, I was calling him like, man, like I just did this, and the office isn't helping me out. And he's like, oh, we'll just do. I'm just like, dude, we started at the same time. Like, how do you already know this stuff? Right. And I was like, that's when it was like, all right, something unique's happening, something special is happening.
Yeah.
And so right in the beginning, he was helping me out, and then we'd meet each other in the office, and let's go call for call. Let's go, let's go ahead and contract. My first closing, I'm sure we have. I'm sure he's got it on file. But my first closing, once it happened, it was a mess. I'm sure, just like most closings, but most people's first closings,
right.
Like, is this happening? Is it not happening? And I'm literally sitting there. I'm like, oh, it did close. Oh, it's funded. And he shot a boomerang, just me high fiving him.
Yeah.
And so that moment's recorded in history. But so it started with Dan. And we were Exit Realty. And for me, I was a team guy. Team. Exit Realty had a program where if you brought an agent in, you would get 10% of all their deals. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I'd rather have 10% of 10 agents than me out here killing myself. And Dan's like, dude, I can just go after it. I can get it. Don't worry about it. He's that's great. You do that. Let me know how it goes. I was like, all right. And so I started planting the seeds. Started like, well, you should come meet this guy Gil, and he's got his partner Bobby, and they got this talent development program, and we got all this stuff for you. You should check it out. So I started planting a few of those seeds, started setting up a few meetings and stuff like that. And then, for whatever reason, I'm sure Dan knows better than I do, but that started changing. He started coming around the idea, and he was like, so we started talking about creating Brooks Rojas, real estate group at Exit Realty. At the same time, somewhere along the picture, I'm not 100% sure. It's so funny because we actually all run, like literally, I'm sure I probably hung out with this third partner at some point,
right,
and didn't even know it, or we don't know if we did. But our third partner, Sean, we all ran in the same groups. We now to this day still meet. We do it once a day or once a month brunch. And a lot of times, once we've had a few, we start telling stories. I'm like, oh wait, blah blah blah, and blah. And it's just like more and more we keep figuring out we're running around.
Y'all ran into each other.
The same crews. We're just constantly going around it, and so that's the part. I can't sit there and tell anyone. I can tell somebody join a team, partner up.
Right.
But sometimes it's just that authentic, raw. Like I said, I thought I had it the first time with a TV show, and with my one buddy, I was like. Shh. So that wasn't the wrong, so maybe if you've been there, maybe if you've done something like that, keep trying to partner and keep trying to do a teamwork thing. That's ultimately just because it didn't work out the first time doesn't mean it won't work. It will work. But so we meet somewhere along that process. We're starting Brooks Rojas. We're still Exit Realty. And Sean comes into the picture. And when he tells the story, he said that he saw what we were doing, and he went home and told his significant other, hey, I want to be a part of what they're doing.
Right.
And, for whatever it was and whatever energy that Dan and I were bringing, he saw that. And like I said, it's so funny because I had, personal friends reaching out like, oh man, I see you doing real estate. You should reach out to my buddy Sean. He's killing it. I was like, I think he's in my office. And so finally that day came, and we all finally started connecting and doing stuff together. At some point having conversations, and at the same time, this wonderful thing was coming into our lives. EXP Realty. The thing was, I actually was already. It was funny. I had been pitched EXP about 3 months prior to trying to do this Brooks Rojas thing.
It would have been nice to have Gil on you.
And in my head, so shame on me. At the time, I was like, man, I could do this, but so I was approached, I was pitched, I was ready. I was ready to leave. I was done. I was like, I'm not really getting traction at this office, and so Dan and I went and actually met. And for the first time, I actually sat with Gil and Bobby, and that was the first time. And I remember the conversation was Gil telling me I had to be okay with getting uncomfortable, and I was like, dude, you don't even know me. Like, if you think I'm afraid to get uncomfortable, I'm like, okay. And so I was like, but that conversation saved me and kept me there. That was in July of that year. And then the Brooks Rojas stuff started like October. Sean was probably, like I said, at some point they were doing stuff together. They would go out and they would do some media stuff together. I knew, like I said, at that point that we were partners was none of my business. Whatever he was doing, Dan was doing for his business. I just remember Sean was going out with him. They were filming some stuff, and slowly but surely he was getting introduced, and kind of Dan was starting to have the conversation like, hey, Sean's going to join us. That was about October that year. December of that year, Dan's getting serious. At this point, I had brought on, I think, like 2 people. As part of my 10, and if I get 10% of the 10. Then So December of that year, I had about at least 2, if not 3. And, Dan reached out to me and was like, hey, man, this is getting serious. I just went and started a business with the state of Florida. We're going to do we're doing this, and this. And I was like, okay. And so it starts rolling. And then that January, Gil comes to us, and I guess he's either finally able to or allowed to, but was telling us that he was now looking at EXP2. And it's so funny because I was talking about the whole time. I'm like, damn, dude, let's get out of here. Let's go start EXP. We can go join this other, this group over here. And if we really love these guys, we can come back and get them. But it looks like a great model. And he's like, nah, man, Exit really is better. Like, and so I was like, and it's so funny. Like, so from like
July. Bring that up to him ever?
I have.
Yeah, you have to bring it up.
From July to January.
Brunches. You guys are having a couple like. You remember when you said that?
Right out the gate. From July to January. He's it's better, and I was like, okay. I was like, man, I trust Dan, and Gil's making the switch. So I was like, I've been sucker before. I've seen a nice shiny thing and been like, oh, that's it. I've tried, anybody that knows EcoQuest, it's a air purifier company, and had some of the similar properties as far as the makeup of the company, and so I've been down that road. And then in our family, we didn't have a lot of success with sales. I had no salespeople in my family. My dad had one job from 18 till he retired. My aunt had one job from 18 to retired. My mom had done a few different jobs, but then when she had us, she was a homemaker. And then we also a small family. So So this whole idea of getting into sales, I was already stepping out, and like the fact that I got into real estate, like the family was already like, if you're sure, I had the Wawa stock money, I had the money from Wawa that was sustaining me until I could figure some of the stuff out. But the opportunity came. Gil sat us down, told us what was happening. I was like, right. And literally, like you said, has it come up? Well, it came up right there. They went around the table asking how everybody felt about the whole EXP opportunity. I was like, dude, I've been trying since July. I was like, I've been convincing myself since July. Exit Realty was better. Like, I was buying it, but so I was in, and again, teaming up, partnering up.
Yeah, it's about who you partner with.
I mean, because collectively as a group, individually, Dan, Sean, and I would not have the success, the level that we have it at now.
Right.
Any one of us would have had some level of success. Any one of us would have achieved certain things, not knocking any one of them or myself, but together collectively, I mean, we're going to bat against 20, 30-year industry leaders where it's like our numbers are at the volume and are competitive with that.
Right.
And those are our goals are that.
Right.
And so, I mean, linking arms and then having each other and that's, I mean, just like most people, 2020 was not an easy year. And I mean, I definitely had my fair share of setbacks in 2020. I mean, I had to put the dog down. Anybody's got a dog, you know how 14 years, I had to put the dog down. Grandma passed away in June. Yeah. Best friend from high school gets killed in September. So it was just like every time I was getting up, I was getting knocked back down.
Yeah, man. Sorry about that.
And if it wasn't for these two, if it wasn't for them, I was done.
Yeah.
Because also, like I said, when I started the story, the girl left. The girl left too. And it was like, I was doing it because I thought her and I were moving. Since I'm not moving, I can just go back to Wawa now. Yeah. Like, why? What's the point? Like, this was all for her to make whatever her and I were doing work. But at this point, as far as we were, now there's a year in between when we joined EXP to this point in my life, and we had built something nice. We had there's a lot of people on the team. You know, if they watch this, they hear this. You know, I got to thank a lot of you guys. It's because of you. I owe you guys. I love you guys. I need you. But we had a lot of people come in that just, number one, trust us out the gate. Yeah. And that's a huge thing is just trust. It's the same thing that when you asked about what about Gil? Yeah. I mean, I can sit there and try to put it into words, but like for me, it was just a gut feeling.
That trust, that gut.
And just whether some of these people had that same feeling or not, or for whatever the reason was, enough people took a chance with us in those early days. We're like, yeah, we're going to partner up with them. Right. We leveraged Gil and Bobby. We leveraged the office that we were in. So again, a partnership, a teaming up, linking arms. Whatever I'm not good at, hopefully you have those skill sets. You can bring up the slack. Yeah. And we took complete advantage of that. And then we had some people trust us. And that's you come down to that when you do business with people like and trust. So some of those people in the early days, will mean the world to me. And this whole journey means, I can't put it into words what it all means. Right. But we went through 2020, it hit, and I was done. I was like, you know what, man, I just kept getting hit. I was done. I was like, there's no point. 2020 hit. Part of me actually, I had to go back and pick up side jobs, and work. Real estate wasn't what I was doing full time, and it was tough and embarrassing to say or to go through, but it was what it was. And actually, part of that though, again, your pain isn't in vain. Like whatever you're going through, like there's going to be a reason, and maybe some of that stuff I was going through made it possible for what eventually got me going in 2020, which was the mentoring. Yeah. So I get into the mentoring. And now the new agents coming in, I'm able to, because I'd been on Gil's team. Like, so there was a year gap where I wasn't, I didn't go in the full story of the real estate, but I was on Gil's team. I was doing Zillow. I'd done for sale by owners with Sean. Sean and I went after a couple of for sale by owners. Converted some, and I was the quintessential Bobby would tell us get in line and stay in line. But I was like, nope. Oh, they're doing that. Let me go over to open houses. Oh, we're doing for sale by owners.
Yeah, shiny objects everywhere it goes. It's like he's popping it off.
So I would go. I would check out this thing, check out that thing, but then on top of all the pain and suffering I went through 2020, the opportunity came up where they opened up the talent development program at our office. Yeah, you can get certified as a mentor with EXP. I got certified. And some of that started pulling me out though, which is finally I had something like, okay, this is something I can do. This is something I can deliver on. Right. And then I was, and maybe through the pain and through all the stuff that I had been going through, I was able to either relate to what people were going through. I know I had one mentee that was like, well, my last mentor told me I can't have a second job because that's like having a plan B and all that stuff. And I was like, look, man, if you got to go take care of business, go take care of business.
Right. Yeah.
Plan B would be like, I'm quitting real estate and going to be a server. Right. Then that's plan B. If if you got to go and you bartend or you're a server, you got the side job. It's countless people in real estate. Right. I've sat down with people 25, 30 year veterans. I'm like, back in the day, I had to do this. Right. And so through some of that stuff, I think which led me into this next stage of being able to mentor, being able to be a coach in the office, started seeing success with that. But it was through a lot of trials and tribulations. It was through leaving Wawa and knowing people thought I was crazy. It was through being on a TV show thinking I was about to be a multimillionaire and just completely falling flat on my face.
Man, you know how many times I've gotten rich on paper? Like going through like ideas and different things that are happening, like where it's like, oh, this is how the whole world's gonna pan out. When they hear I'm doing this, like it's just gold mine from there, right?
Yeah. How could this go wrong? There's no way. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? I'll find a way.
I always love asking this question. If you could go back to the beginning of your real estate career, what would you tell yourself? If you go back like right now and tell yourself like one piece of advice, like one thing, what would that be?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, what I tell them to, I mean, just keep showing up.
Right.
Just keep. I mean, I don't know what time to show you. Keep showing the fuck up.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Yeah, I tell people. I mean, show the fuck up and step the fuck up. I mean, if you
show up, that's our number one core value. If you don't show up, nothing else matters.
And Bobby always said that to me at one point. So there's gonna be something like this for me at one point. There's gonna be a photo. We went to Tony Robbins. Yeah. And I was still with a girl at the time. Still had the dog, still had it all. So you can literally, but in this photo at Tony Robbins, right? We go to take a group photo. Yeah. And everybody, I'm talking about 50 to 60 people just at Tony Robbins. And they're in the back of the photo, there's one person, me. Yeah. Just like, just so miserable and so, and Bobby says this, Bobby's like, you know what, Brooks, I'll tell you this though. You at least, you showed up. We told you to Tony Robbins, like, okay, I'll go to Tony Robbins. Right. And I had a poopy pants. If you do David Goggins' poopy pants, that poopy pants attitude, I was like, okay, I'll go. Yeah. And then, hey man, go to this conference. Okay, I'll go to this conference. Hey man, I was on Gil's team. Let's go to Commissions Inc. training. Okay, I'll go. And like, so like, I always just showed the fuck up. Yeah. And through that, like, literally when I got dumped, I had to go to the office for a meeting. I went to the meeting. After that meeting, I had the meeting with Dan and Sean, and like they're like, "What's wrong, man?" Just waterfall, and they're just like, "I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this shit anymore. It's not worth it." And they're like, "Nah." And even I remember Sean saying, "Like, man, go take care of what you got to take care of, man. Right. You still got your spot. It's not going anywhere." Right. And same with Dan. Sean said that. And I won't forget that. But show the fuck up. Yeah. But again, just having if it wasn't for them, I could have showed up and like. And then said, fuck it, I'm out. Yeah, man. So, I would tell you, if I go back and tell myself, on the individual level, as long as you keep showing up, they can never take that from you. I love it. But again, partnering up, continue to partner up, continue to find resources and find what, there's something that you do better than me. Let me find out what it is, swallow the ego, and then go find out what it is and then try to execute on it. I love it. That's two great things to end on. Swallow the ego, show the fuck up. I love it, Andrew. Hey, brother, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it, man. Hey, guys, we'll see you on the next one.